What is up, everyone? We are here on a Friday night. I'm a little bit late, but we had to come on, give my instant reactions to this Panthers massive trade versus with the Chicago Bears, I should say. I have about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna spit my takes fast. I really haven't made too many notes because basically my day went like this. I got off of school. I went and got a haircut, came back at about 4:30. No, 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 yeah, 4:30. Then I talked to my mom for a little bit, saw the trade that had happened, and then I went for a run and hopped on the stream. So, didn't really have a whole lot of time to prepare notes for this, but let's get right into it. I didn't if any of you want to call in, I didn't actually um put any call-in link in the description, but I do have my number right here. So just call this number and you'll be put on the show. So if any of you guys want to call in, feel free. Let me just quickly pull up something. I wanted to pull up a stat real quick. That I didn't have time to. Very busy day for me, but wow. This is more news that is just hold on, guys. Wow, that was not expected. The thing that is definitely huge. I mean, there is so much news now today that is going down, and it's only going to get like more news. There's only going to be more news because it's like, I mean, we're only going to like next week is free agency, so we're only going to see more and more news. We're only going to get more and more rich, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. Let me see. Okay. Well, I got it. Okay, so let's get to the first topic without sugarcoating it, without anything. The Panthers trade up. Huge move. Now, who do I think won this trade? Again, the details of the trade, I'll get you right here. This is the stat that I was pulling up. So the Bears receive this year's 9th overall pick, which is the Bears pick. This year's the Panthers second round pick for this year. So a 2023 9th overall pick, a 2023 second round pick, a 2024 first round pick, and a 2025 second round pick. They also get DJ Moore, which if he's a receiver for the Panthers. And basically the Panthers receive the number 1 overall pick. So who do I think won this trade? I think the Bears, it's a win-win because the Bears got DJ Moore. The Bears have one of the worst receiving cores, or have had one of the worst receiving cores in the league for many seasons. So this is a win for the Bears in that scenario. I think, you get a receiver to kind of to protect Justin Fields and to give him more weapons. I honestly, I've heard both opinions about this trade. I think the Panthers wanted the pick that they got. Like, the Panthers basically went all in. And it's a high risk, high reward, because if you get the guy that turns out to be a Hall of Famer, this trade is going to be won by the Panthers. If the quarterback that evidently the Panthers are going to draft, and I'll get into that later, but the quarterback that the Panthers are evidently going to draft, if he turns out to be a Hall of Famer, then the Panthers will win this trade. But right now, if I look at it from just a face value, I'm going to say that the Bears win this trade just because they got freaking 2 first-round picks. They got DJ Moore. They got and a second-round pick, or 2 second-round picks. 2 first, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore. So I think the Bears right now won this trade, but it could, along the lines, in the future, look like the Panthers won this trade. So now this brings me to the question, who do the Panthers trade? Well, who do the Panthers draft? I think it's Bryce Young, no doubt about it. Now, I want to post a little bit of film. I probably will post a little bit of film after I get off of this. Probably tonight, look for a short from me basically posting a highlight reel from Bryce Young. Bryce Young, the reason why I think he's the number one quarterback, and I discussed this on Saturday, but the reason why I think he's the number one quarterback is he has next level, NFL level anticipation on his routes. Basically, you'll see in the film that, let's say a receiver is running a slant. Bryce Young is already getting it out of his hands before that receiver has even turned his back, and he throws it perfectly on the money. So Bryce Young has A grade anticipation that is going to translate to the NFL. And the big thing about him, the big knock on him, is his height, right? But I think height can be masked over by anticipation and good pocket presence. And a lot of people compare him to Kyler Murray because they are basically the same size. They're both 5'11", about 180 pounds. But Kyler Murray didn't play in the SEC. He played at Oklahoma, which is in the Big 12, a lot smaller of a conference. And Kyler Murray, his highlight reel is of him basically just running around the field and playing backyard football in college. That's his highlight reel. Bryce Young, you go back and look at this last season, he took care of the ball. He only had 2 interceptions, and he played quarterback in the pocket a lot. He was a pocket passing quarterback, and he had good anticipation. So I don't care about his height. I think he's going to be the Panthers' number one pick. Now, CJ Stroud could make a push for that. I could see them getting CJ Stroud. He had a great combine. He started 3 years. He had 4 interceptions, I believe, last year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So CJ Stroud, and he has height too, and athleticism. So I could see CJ Stroud being the number one pick too. But I think this move is evident. The Panthers, here's my theory of what happened really with the Panthers. And here's my theory of really what went down and why the Panthers made this move, okay? So my theory is the Panthers like 3 guys, okay? They like CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson, okay? I think the reason why not everyone likes Will Levis is because Will Levis played at a small school. And whenever he played like a top level talent or top level school, like when he played when Will Levis played Georgia, I believe it was week 6 in the college season, Will Levis didn't look good at all against Georgia in week 6 of the college football season. On top of that, if you go back and look at that film, he just really didn't have a good day, and he ended up getting knocked out of the game with a concussion versus Georgia. So on top of that, you look at Will Levis. Yeah, he has the build to be a quarterback, and he has the arm to be a quarterback, but he also had 10 picks last season, and I think it was 12 the season before. So unlike the 2 or 3 other quarterbacks ahead of him, Will Levis doesn't take care of the ball quite well. He's had a lot more interceptions than any of the other 3 guys ahead of him. So I think the Panthers like 3 guys, right? Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud, right? And so I think the Panthers called the Seahawks, which are at pick number 5, Panthers at pick number 9, and said, we want to give you, do you want to trade down to our pick and we will trade up? And my theory is the Seahawks said no. And the whole objective of this trade, I think, is to get ahead of the Falcons and the Raiders. Because if you're the Panthers and you stay at number 9, okay, you're going to miss out on the first 3 quarterbacks, which are the 3 quarterbacks that they like. So, and then if you look at the picks ahead of the Seahawks, you have the Colts at number 4. They're not going to want to trade down because they want a quarterback. You have the Cardinals at number 3. I think the Cardinals want to get the next best prospect other than a quarterback at number 3. And then I think you have the Texans and the Bears. And the other thing with the Panthers, I think the Panthers were really enamored by Bryce Young. And I think that the Texans were going to draft Bryce Young. I think it was going to be Bears pick and then Texans. I think Bryce Young was going to go to the Texans at number 2. So the Panthers said, we really like him. We want to go to number 1 to pick number 1 to ensure that we get either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. So that's my theory. I think this Seahawks didn't want to trade down. I think the Panthers really weren't too enamored, really even by Anthony Richardson. I think the Panthers really liked 2 prospects in this draft, and that was CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. Both guys didn't turn the ball over. Both guys have had a long starting. I think the thing that scares the Panthers away is Anthony Richardson doesn't have starting experience. So I think the Panthers loved CJ Stroud and Bryce Young for their starting experience and the fact that they don't turn the ball over a ton and they have had wow plays. Again, right after or a few hours after this show is done, I am going to post a short on a highlight reel by Bryce Young, just showing you how good. It's going to be against LSU and just how good Bryce Young is. So I'm going to post that after this show is done. But yeah, so that's my theory. Now, how the Panthers affect this trade affects, how this trade affects the draft board all around. Again, I think this is going to be one of the most exciting drafts that we've seen in a while, because there is going to be so many quarterbacks picked in the top 10. I think there's going to be 4 quarterbacks picked in the top 10. Okay. And there's going to be 5. Well, there's going to be, I think, a lot of people trying to trade into the top 10, which is going to be even more exciting. So it's going to be a very action-packed top 10 to top 15 NFL draft this year. But how this affects the QB draft board, I think so. Now we've got CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. I think Panthers pick Bryce Young at number 1, CJ Stroud at number 2 for the Texans. And then you could see the Colts getting Anthony Richardson, and then the Raiders getting Will Levis, possibly, maybe. And the thing I'm so intrigued about now is I think what the Falcons need a quarterback too. So either the Falcons get a guy in free agency to start for them this year, and they kind of tank. Either the Falcons tank for the number 1 pick next year and get Caleb Williams, or the Falcons trade up this year to leapfrog the Raiders and get Will Levis. Right? So that's how I think it's going to go. I originally said that Will Levis would go to the Buccaneers at pick number 19, but now I think he's going to go within the top 10. Ultimately, I think he's going to either land to the Falcons or the Raiders. I'd say the Raiders, because if you're the Falcons right now, I think the best option is just to get a low-level backup and just tank for Caleb Williams next year. But we could also see, Hendon Hooker. He has top-level talent, Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, the quarterback. But the only reason why he's projected to go early second round is because he's had injury issues. So we could see Hendon Hooker now going in the first round of the of the draft. So this trade affects so many things. So many things. Okay, so we've got that done. Kind of the last topic that I wanted to talk about are kind of like the 49ers, breaking news. I might kind of save some of the other news, because we also had Darius Slay now kind of requesting a trade from the Eagles, but I might save that for tomorrow. So if you guys don't know, tomorrow I am going to have a show with this Jets fan from Twitter that I found. Very knowledgeable Jets fan, Mark Torres from Twitter. We're going to be discussing Jets. We're going to be discussing all around the NFL. So, you want Lamar Jackson news. You want Lamar Jackson news. You want Aaron Rodgers news. We're going to be discussing it tomorrow with a Jets fan. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time. and 5 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Mountain time. So stay tuned. We'll probably be getting more into the logistics of this trade tomorrow with Mark Torres, the Jets fan from Twitter. Look him up. And we're probably going to be getting more into that tomorrow. So stick around, guys. I have to go in like a few minutes. So let's quickly go to the breaking news. Not breaking news, but the 49ers got a compensatory pick today. Well, got 7 compensatory picks. And I can look it up real quick, but I think we have like 4 third-rounders right now. But that's beside the point. The 49ers now have 18. Let me say that again. 18 picks in the NFL draft. They have the most picks out of any team, I think, in the NFL draft this year. So the 49ers are in a great position. What I ultimately think the 49ers are going to do, I believe they have 4 third-round picks now. So what I think the 49ers are going to do is they're going to package like 2 third-round picks and maybe, I think they have like 4 thirds, 4 fifths, 5 sixes, and like I think 3 sevenths or 4 sevenths. That's probably pretty wrong. But the point is, I think they're going to package a few of those third-round picks and maybe some lower level, maybe a 5th and a 6th round pick. And they're going to trade up, and they're going to get like maybe trade up to the mid-second round and get a right tackle. I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to get a tackle to compete with Colton McKivitz. Now, I like this move a lot. I think there's no way. Here's why I think the 49ers will trade up in some capacity in this draft. Because you have 18 picks in this draft. Do you realize you can't, like, if you were to draft all of those 18 picks, you can't even fit all of those players on the roster. So the 49ers almost have to trade up and get a better player. So ultimately, what I think they will do is they're going to trade up. And I really like a few names in this draft. I can pull them up real quick. I have them in my notes real quick. Let me quickly see. Darnell Wright, right tackle from Tennessee. Really good right tackle. Had a great combine. And then you also have the guy from Syracuse, which his name is, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting him? Hold on. His name, I have him in my notes, is, oh my gosh, why can I not remember this guy? Well, okay, yeah, so his name, not from Syracuse, but DeWand Jones from Ohio State, really big right tackle, 360 pounds, 6'8", really huge right tackle from Ohio State. Oh, there we go. Bergeron. Syracuse, I believe his name is Mike Bergeron from Syracuse, right tackle. This guy fits the mold for what the 49ers want in a right tackle. Bergeron is only like 320. No, 315. He's agile. He can move. He's played right tackle and left tackle. Okay. So I think what they're going to draft Bergeron for is he started the last 2 seasons at left tackle, but I think they're going to start Colton McKivitz and they're going to use Bergeron, who I think they're going to draft in the 2nd round, and they're going to use him as kind of their swing tackle the first year. So look out for, I can look his name up again. I believe it's Mike Bergeron from Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse. Right tackle, had a great combine. I looked at his numbers, and I can look him up again. Hold on. I looked at his numbers, and he had a 30.5-inch vertical, which I looked what the average was for offensive linemen, and Matthew Bergeron for offensive linemen for the vertical jump, he had a 30.1 vertical jump, and I looked up what the average was, and for offensive tackles, it's 28.44, the average for offensive tackles in the draft. So he has an above average vertical jump, and he has a 7-inch broad jump. Sorry, I think I'm reading that wrong. He has a 8 foot 7-inch broad jump, which for the average for offensive tackles at that position is 102 inches. So this guy is a very athletic offensive tackle. And I think the 49ers are going to trade up and either draft him or DeWand Jones from Ohio State. So look them up. Yeah, Niners are in a great spot because now that they got these 7 compensatory picks from the draft, they're going to package those picks and trade up into the second round. So this should be a very exciting draft for the 49ers. And how they got these 7 picks was basically, if you lose more players in free agency that were on your team, if you lose more players than you ultimately sign in free agency, then you get compensatory picks. And the 49ers have done this many years in a row. This year, they're going to get 7 compensatory picks. So what I expect them to do, they're going to trade up. They're going to get a guy. I think they're going to draft right tackle. I think they're going to go center in free agency and right tackle in the draft. Yeah. So before I go, guys, quick announcements. I do want to do a charity stream for the NFL draft. So maybe what I'll probably do is stream for those 3 days, and I'll do a charity stream, try to raise some money, or I'll do a giveaway, either one of those two. And then also what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to do a 49ers mock draft in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then I'm also planning to do, between now and the draft, I'm planning to do 2 top 15 mock drafts. And then I also want to rank my top 15 prospects that I think the 49ers should draft. So that should be fun. So I'm going to do a 49ers mock draft, top 15 prospects that the 49ers should draft, and a 2 top 15 mock drafts. So, but a lot of those mock drafts, I should have guests coming on. So I want to have Jesse Naylor on for the 49ers mock draft. And then I want to have Jake Ellenbogen on for one of the NFL mock drafts, for the top 15 NFL mock drafts. So I want to have Jake Ellenbogen on for that. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's going to be fun. This is only going to get more exciting because we got free agency next week. I should be going live on Wednesday, which is going to be the day of free agency. So I'm going to be going live that day, kind of react to it, hopefully with a guest. So we got free agency next week. We've got the draft in a little bit more than a month. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's already starting to heat up. And between now and the draft, I'm going to be posting shorts on my channel, basically player profiles, basically me breaking down a certain player. And I'm going to be doing that. So yeah, so that's what I should be doing from now until the draft. Just breaking down players, breaking down players that the 49ers could look into, players that are high on the NFL draft boards. So look for that in my shorts section. And yeah, I'll probably be doing that as well. As always, guys, go Niners. A lot of exciting stuff happening. And have a good rest of your guys' night.